Hello and welcome back to Paths, Pillars of Eternity. The Phantom. The Phantom Soldier raises his short sword to your chest. I have seen you light pyres with good people tied to them. People outknown many a year. He seizes you by the throat, and your airway tightens. Whether real or imagined, you cannot tell. They deserve your confession. He raises the point of his sword, holding it a hair's breadth from your eye. Startled, the soldier releases you immediately and turns to face the speaker, a woman in a plain wool tunic, fully a head shorter than he, but somehow seeming to tower over him. You have seen this woman's face before, but from afar, bloodied and burned as she lay stretched across an iron wheel. At the moment, it is marked only with concern. If she is so poor an assassin as to approach an armed cart in daylight, I should have little to fear. I would hear what this woman has to say. She stares him down until he can no longer face her. He turns away, sour-faced, and pretends to be suddenly distracted by something far off. Grand Inquisitor Theas Ix Arcanan dispatched me here to spy on you. Eovar doesn't blink. Are things as desperate as that over there? I would never have known. I hope your next assignment is more stimulating. Listening to my lectures is dull work for a spy. It is special to have an old pupil return to me. I must have done something right, even after having taught so much that was wrong. Whatever your reasons, I've missed you over all these years. Having you here now, at a time when I'm surrounded by strangers, is a wonderful gift. Luckily, no one in our party is any longer surprised whenever that happens. Just to remind you, only we see the ghost. No one else. So we are just staring blankly into the distance. By the way, what do we do now? This is done. I don't know why it's a... Oh, that's interesting. That is really interesting, bug. Oh well. In my dream, the army came from the White March in the Star Wars. Perhaps the residents will know of it. Perhaps, yeah. The lake in Old Song has begun freezing over ever since the arrival of a group of pale elves. Okay, but we don't do that. We won't do that yet. Okay, I will be right back because this bug is honestly. Oh, it fixed. Color me surprised. Northweld. Southern edge of Northweld. Let's do that. But wasn't she killed? Oh, she was somewhere here. Swyneth, her gloved hand held buried on the weaves of her rebellious hair, watches you approach, incredulous. You did it! Her dimples frame a beaming smile. She lets out a sigh of relief and walks her finger at you. We'll be chanting your name back in the cave. Everyone will know what you've done for us. I promise. She scratches her cleft chin with her free hand and gives you a measuring look. But you're the type to deserve more than just praise. Coin? Weaponry? She rubs her gloves finger together. Or if nothing tangible suits your fancy, I will gladly share my skills with you. Yeah, sure, I'd like to learn from your skills. Gwyneth nods enthusiastically. I was hoping you would say that. She removes the gloves from her hands, stowing them in back pocket. When you spend as much time as I do in the ruins, you'll learn to strike first, and strike without warning. She holds her S-stock out in front of her, its blade parallel to the ground. The key is efficiency of movement. Thank you. She walks you through several footwork drills that focus on quiet footfalls and measured breathing. Place all your weight on the final step when you're ready to strike. She yells for emphasis as she demonstrates a swift, silent lunge. As you follow her examples, she nods in satisfaction. I think you've got a grasp of it. I'm honored I could teach you something new. She half courtesies and turns to take her leave. Thank you. So there is that. Trials of Durance. Okay, so we must speak with Durance, after all. I wanted to ask you about the region and its history. Do you know anything of the Deerwood and the surrounding nations? Deerwood's the best of them, still in spirit, and if a land can have one. It's a place where a man can walk freely, even make new roads, and that's a rare thing in this world. Its generations, however, are damned, so no new footfalls may spell an end to it. Do you mean the Hollowborn? Yes, whatever twist Wittig has done to generations. And to think, I thought it involved men and women, not their gods. And to use children as a lever against a stubborn door for the sake of politics. As if the gods should be above that. Mournful lie. I assumed the problem was a thing born of women and men, nations driven by them, always circling within and without. The Valen Republic, Switzerland's descent war, one big bladed spiral shredding everything around it. How do you feel about the Valen Republics? Fortune seekers garbed in robes of office, manipulators, traitors, and traitors all. Don't hold them in high regard. Any country so obsessed with style might as well be wearing scarves over their eyes. Keep vigilant, or they'll turn you into slaves as soon as ink dries on the trade treaty. The Deerwood and all its internal reaches is too tempting, especially if someone else tames the country and the face painters for them. Face painters? Durance waves his hand dismissively. Tribes, grandfathers cluster around the ruins like flies. What about Retsaras? Durance's face flushes, and a sheen of sweat forms on his brow. Too many adjectives, that so-called nation, civil unrest, economic collapse, all tinder, just needing the right spark. Some farmer shows up, takes a garden to himself, and takes a crown on his head. This fine kingdom he tries to set up goes about as well as you expect. A trickle of sweat runs down the side of Durance's cheek and sinks into his beard. Suddenly, the population of heretics goes up by about half and again, and Evna starts turning his bloodstained gaze to every blasphemer he can find. Cleaning house is one way to put it. His face darkens, his eyes narrow. Purge is another. Put them and their god in their place, though, with enough force to kill the damned country, too. Not a supporter of the country of Retsaras either. It's not a country, it's a gathering of cowards. They're puppets. They used to be an optimistic bunch, a bright bunch. Was their undoing. Should have embraced their misery without letting a farm lead them to a brighter ruin. Almost Iota's puppets too, but an end to that. They dangled on his strings, Wade and dangled on theirs. They would never have had any success on the battlefield had not their god come down. The Saints' War needed to call on their god to have a chance. Tell me about the Saints' War. Durance's eyebrows draw together in a frown. Then he grunts. Keep forgetting your feet are new to the Deerwood. The Saints' War. What happened? It was, 15, 16 years ago? 2807. Durance pauses, then shakes his head and shrugs. My memories are back with a younger me. I don't hold on to dates. I hold on to actions and causes. The war was an act of arrogance, born straight from Retzera's twitching legs. A man thinking himself more than a man. Want to kill someone? Tell him her God speaks through him. Then tell him he means him to lead, which puts him at the front of an army, and the army was as strong as you would expect for Retzeras, as sick as that country was to begin with. Yet a war was likely just what they needed. What was wrong with the country? Retzeras has its shares of troubles. It deserves all of them. It deserved Waidwin. He was right. He was the light that led them to flame. Retzeras was in decline, Aedir poison already eating its veins, economic bleeding, the dying of the faith. Then, Waidwin, this farmer, claimed to take up Eovas in the flesh and gives them the worst kind of hope. What happened then? They crown him. They make him king, the worst kind of blasphemy. And once he wears the crown on his head and the god in his flesh, he starts making changes. Divine changes. Then he decides he's going to change us. Save us. How? He merges to the Deerwood to free us. To free us from our beliefs like he freed the other souls in Retzeras. Cold Morn offers up its bell with no resistance, and is spread. The bloodshed starts when he sucks Mercy Veil, a touch of irony that puts it to the flame. Cold Morn? Cowards, and Cold Morn is an apt name for them. They lay still, frozen, while the froze burnt. They'll pay Magnus price for one day for such cowardice. What did Eodes do next? Eodes kept marching. They would take to the trees, cutting at his vines, his scales, his troops. It seemed near hopeless. Doran's face becomes grim. Then he smiles slightly. Until Harkrot Citadel, the Godhammer. There we put him to the flame, burned the god out of him, if there ever was one to begin with. Dozen brave men and women take to the bridge, make a stand. Then we torched him there with the fire of the Godhammer. It was a weapon of the Roots people, their independence. There are few that would deny that Eodes overstepped. The Godhammer reminded Eodes of this, a fire and force so terrifying, so bright, it burned the god away. Durance holds his staff, and his hands look around it, tracing the etchings. As you watch, the top of the staff blossoms, burns brightly, and Durance speaks, his face illuminated in the fire. A weapon that would burn brighter than Eodes. And we led him to it and burned him at the stake. The stake was the Godhammer, and we impaled him on it. You said you fashioned it? Durance nods. Wasn't easy, shaping it, crafting it. The pieces, the curve of the relic, even then it was a massive thing, something that required a god to come to it rather than be cast at him. Though luring him to it, that was the easy part. Gods are prideful. What happened? We led him to the fields, once that he remembered as a farmer, perhaps. The fields right outside Halkot Citadel. Now, Godhammer Citadel. It was right across the Evondir Bridge, an easy trek. Men died. Then more died luring Eothas into Evondir. We had carved veins and paths through the bridge, excavated the foundations, filled them with powder and ember-hardened grains, eager to burn. Our hands had even pried mortar and rock loose, sharpened them to points so they might be rent from their foundations easier, and tear through the flesh of that pretender. And so you used Evondir against Eodes. And Eodes went back to the Ether, or the grave. He's lost his voice and his love of war, I'll tell you that much. It took only tones by man, and that was enough to lure him across the bridge, and right into the new sun. Duran straightens his back, draws a deep breath. It let Retzera see how bright their argons had become, and became a symbol by which he answered their purge with one of our own purges. So you just answered their crime with one of your own. keep troubling me, and I may extend the fit bow for each question. Enough questions for now. Let the road keep us until the next campfire. Okay. Really? You don't want to talk anymore? Not this. Let's see. But apparently, okay, he does not want to speak about this anymore. Fine. If you don't want to talk, then we won't talk. Oh, we need to go back to Tia Evron. Yep. Okay, fine, let's do that. Although I will have to check which god is responsible for that. So give me a moment, or hopefully it's Hela. Hela? Yeah, I think Hela. And I do need to look for those birds still. For the bard. I don't like it. Let me see. Oh, Hela. Here. You step before the shrine and prepare to recite the ritual words. Life, every note of life's song. Your words seem to ring in the air, your voice rendered melodic and lilting by some unseen art. You kneel. While you pray, you feel the space around your body shift and melt, and you find yourself in a vision of the mountaintop temple. Yet you see neither worshippers nor a dragon, but a tree. Its limbs warp around the perimeter of the temple, tapering into twigs and branches of all sizes and angles. They seem too long and too numerous to be held up by the meager trunk, but they hold steady in the breeze. A single sparrow lands on the nearest branch. It watches you. Whistle to the bird. You whistle the first tune that pops into your head. The sparrow blinks its beady eyes and hops closer to you along the branch. It bobs its tiny head and opens its beak, and the rich, thrilling melody that spills forth is the song of a chorus of birds. A massive flock descends with a thundering of wings and whooping, screeching, chirping calls. They fill the boughs of the tree by the thousands, birds of every shape, size and color nestling next to one another. A breeze ripples through the air. The limbs sway, creaking with a strange, gentle rhythm. A few hundred of the birds flit from their branches, forming a brilliantly variegated flock in front of the tree. As they meet and swoop in unison, you catch a glimpse of someone looking back at you, cloaked by the flurry of feathers. Watcher, I believe we stand in the legendary court of birds. She closes her eyes and raises her face to the sky. I feel a presence, warmth and hope. Dragons, like your birds, are creatures of the skies. Every life bears a cost. Beauty, great and powerful and colorful, they are marvel to behold. I already know that Theos X Arcanon has gone to Sun and Shadow to strengthen Woodica with thousands of souls. The birds return to the tree and nestle amongst their peers. The breeze ripples through the branches again, carrying the goddess's voice. The grieving mother claps her hands once, setting off the music of chimes. After long years, let their wounds be healed, their tears dried. You could restore them, give their families hymns of joys after years of lament. Peace and restoration give purpose to suffering. There is no meaning, no redemption in pain that does not lead to fulfillment. Symmetry demands that great rejoicing follows suffering such as this. Perhaps it would be better to allow these souls to find new lives. The grieving mother gapes at you in horror. Give them first these lives, Watcher. Let them know the love of parents who waited for them, tended them, and let their return bring healing to the Deerwood. How can they continue to another when they have not fully lived this life? To pass them along to another now is cutting a stanza from a poem, a verse from a song. I am not sure it's possible to truly undo the harm Theos has caused. You hear the cry of a swift, soft, and plaintive. Perhaps the years cannot be forgotten, and for some, perhaps it is already too late. But if you could restore even one soul, kindle one spark of life, raise one voice in joy, it would be worth it. Thank you, Hila. I will continue to Sun and Shadow. The grieving mother's eyes are fever bright. Watcher, this is the hope I have held to, that the children of the Deerwood may be restored, their families healed. Let us bring Hila's restoration to this country. I need to think about this. Think then, and choose. All of the birds spread their wings and take flight. As they flock and swarm around you, you again glimpse someone watching you from within the maelstrom of feathers. Her glance is full of compassion and hope. The birds rise toward the sun. They blot it out, reminding you for an instant of a dragon and a shadow. But when your vision clears again, you're standing in Tier Evron. But honestly, I'm not sure we can do that. We did already... Where is it? I mean, we already swear it to the god of death. Do you remember? Nope, not this one. We need to return the souls to cycle. So Technically, if we return them to their current bodies, they would eventually die, which would return them to the cycle, wouldn't it? Hmm. I don't know. Maybe we need to speak with grieving mother. I don't know. Yes, I heard the name water in your thoughts when you remembered the Brighting Bell. Why? There's a slow chill, and for a moment, it seems as if she is going to fade from your vision, as if she can't bear to be seen. Why did you believe you were water? The world has many corners, and in some corners the name water is more known. It is an easier title than others, and at times it is easier to wear. Placing a title upon what is unknown can dispel the fear of it, and I did not fight it. I even believed it true, though I knew little of the ways of waters. It even granted me strength. I was able to see the thoughts of others, shape them, and help guide souls. Water seemed enough, and the name seemed to matter little in the light of one's acts. There is another name for someone with your abilities. I see the word cipher in your mind and see its meaning, although I did not train in such things, and the title feels more of a cloak the world casts on me and judges me for. It is curious how a title such as that can define one, and at times be the source of such emotion that comes from one, but the voices of others. It is a curse of the world. Do you know anything about waters? I feel that they were once marked, hated. Such hate feels dimmed now. I can feel it. All their hatreds have risen for other titles. But they burned bright in the past. Now hates have shifted focus, and they may fall on the same again, either you or me. Okay, I want to know more about you. Why are you called the grieving mother? The air seems to go still for a moment, and time stretches as it did before when the two of you first met. There is a wash of uncertainty from her mind, slowly shaping into questions that swirl and do not coalesce. She does not move. She seems paralyzed, as if you have just wrapped her in a cold blanket. So, I named you. As a watcher, you may see what I do not, or your mind shapes the thoughts I project into a new meaning. There is truth in that title, but it is not all I am. So what do you grieve then? You must have felt it, seen it. It has as many names as the pain it has caused. As the words take shape, they seem to tumble from her, and the wave is great, rushing into your mind. To your surprise, you feel as if you've been touched by the Biavak again, and behind it, cutting through the torrent like a knife, are the thoughts of the grieving mother. There is a wound cut across the belly of the world, a jagged knife that has stripped the stems from men and carved furrows across the wombs of women. There is much I have forgotten, but I can feel the wound all around me. It will not let me rest, not let me be. The children have gone silent, yet their voices may be heard again. Are you speaking of the Hollowborn? The word, There's a slowness of thoughts as if the world is being waited. Accept it. It doesn't feel natural to her. You can sense it. Was once unknown to me, as was much of what unfolded in the outside world. When the curse came upon us, I thought it a smaller thing, a thing of communities and hearths. Her thoughts seemed to stumble, as if on weak legs. It was only when I walked did I feel it stretching out around me in all the cracks of the world. Children have been cursed. I don't think it was something they caused, nor something deserved. That which is inside them has been torn away. I do not know how, but this wound must be stitched closed. The world bleeds forth from being a woman's legs. And as blood is not stemmed, the world will die and grow quiet. Do you know its cause? There is a desperation, a welling fear. You can almost feel her thoughts shivering, and you realize she is as lost as you are on the matter. And then a sudden, sharp clarity. I shall know it, for you. Your eyes will track the cause, find the path, and I will be beside you. There is no wound that cannot be healed, and if you are truly a watcher, then this wound may be seen for what it is. You saw me where I hid. Whoever's hands have stilled the world, you shall see them too. And what if the sealing the wound causes more damage? I will be there, and you will do what must be done. You are given your sight so that you may watch the world, and you will tend it. The children shall have their voice again, and you will, if your will is weak, then I shall strengthen it. Lean upon me. You feel a weight in her words, as if her hands are on your shoulders. You feel the questions in your mind lose their edge and become merely words. As I lean upon you, you shall be my eyes, as I shall be your hands when the time comes. Okay, but with that I'll end this part here, so for now, thank you very much. Stay alive, and see you soon. Bye.